Hey guys,
Good morning.
Hey, how's it going?
good
It's the
morning.
weekly sip.
Here we go. I
My
thought a good
kids,
top.
my kids got me this, Skylar, because they think that looks like me.
You know
That
what
was
is
my
wrong with
Christmas
that
present.
picture is that Sasquatch is not wearing any orange. So you're walking in the woods, you need to be wearing orange during hunting season, otherwise you might
Good advice to Sasquatch. So what are we talking about today? Not Sasquatch.
what about Roth IRAs for your children or your
Yeah,
grandchildren?
Guardian Ross or Custodian Ross.
Yeah, so I remember when I was 13 and I got my first job and I tried to go to the bank that was closest to my house. And I waited in line to talk to the teller, and the teller said, "Oh, if you want to open an account, you need to go over here to the special section and talk to the bank manager." And so I waited a little bit longer, and I sat there, and the bank manager was a little confused what this 13-year-old was doing. But I explained I was trying to open up a bank account, and they told me that I need to come back with my mom because 13-year-olds cannot open a bank account on their own, just like a 13-year-old cannot open a Roth IRA on their own. They have to have a custodian or what they refer to as a guardian on the Roth. So you need to be 18 years old to open up a Roth on your own, but you don't have to be 18-year-old to have a Roth IRA that you are the contributor and the ultimate beneficial owner of the account. So a Guardian Roth IRA is an account that is opened by an adult for their, typically child or grandchild, where they have, they get the account statements and everything, but the child actually owns it. And then once the child reaches age of majority, then they can assume the Roth as their own. But the good benefit of the Guardian Roth is that it kind of sets your time frame open to a younger age for saving. 401k plans typically have a 21-year time frame for starting. Some are earlier. But if you're thinking about your young one that has their first job, they're working at McDonald's, or in my case, I was making cheesesteaks. I could have been saving toward retirement with my Roth IRA account, my Guardian Roth. So,
So you're saying they have to have earned income. Joe, I'm just curious, is there an age limit to open up the Roth or as long as your child's obviously of working age and getting paid a paycheck, you're you're able to contribute on their behalf? And is there like limits that how much you can put in? Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, so the first part you said, and that was earned income. So my son just had his seventh birthday this weekend, so he's getting birthday checks from his aunt, right, on his birthday. So that's not earned income. So we can't take that money and put it into a Roth for his benefit. We can open an investment account or, like Skylar said, a bank account. But in order to have a Roth, the child or the minor needs to have earned income. So lifeguarding, we have a client that pushes golf carts around or sets the golf course up in the mornings. He's got a custodial Roth. He's under 18. We have another one that helps out at a plumbing company where the father works at the plumbing company. So they have to have earned income. And then the amount that they can contribute is whatever they earned for the year or $7,000, whichever is less. So if they make $2,000 during the summer working at Rita's, let's say $2,132 at Rita's, them or their parents can contribute $2,132 to a Roth IRA for their benefit. If they earn $9,000, then they can contribute $7,000. So it's the lesser of that. So usually kids, if they make money at their job at the golf course or lifeguarding or Rita's or kind of first time jobs, they're not going to be too excited about putting all their money for a retirement account as much as we might try to tell them, well, it'll save you taxes over your lifetime. That's going to go in one year out the other. So usually we're talking about the parents funding the account because one, it's the benefit of the taxes and the compounding. So there's kind of the financial benefit. But I think the larger one there is a stewardship idea of like having kids understand at a young age, like, hey, part of how you manage money is setting money aside for the long term, investing for the long term. And I know Skylar and I just had a conversation about that with a gentleman because he was thinking about for his grandkids of like, how do I transfer some of this knowledge and things that I've learned about money that either they learned or they learned from their parents? How do we transfer that to the next generation? So custodial Roths can be a really good way to kind of teach that lesson, even on relatively small dollar amounts, right? $1,000, $1,500, et cetera.
So grandparents can even open up these accounts for their grandkids. Is that what you're
Yeah, anybody can make the
saying?
contribution. So
Okay.
all the kid or the child needs is earned income.
Okay.
So if they're babysitting and they're getting paid cash and the IRS has never known about that, that's not going to work. But it's got to
Okay.
be like bona fide earned income where they're getting a W-2.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be the earned income that they made. They could go and spend it, but so long as they have that, then gift money could be contributed, or we have folks that do matching contributions as a way to incentivize, like, hey, if you save $3,500, I'll match you $3,500. And the only way that you get it is if you do the saving that you said that you were going to do.
Yeah, quick story on that. So this goes past, we're talking about custodial guardian, but this same concept applies. Let's say the band between like 18 and 22. And we usually see that's more heavily used. And to Skylar's point, I was sitting one time at somebody's table and they told the kid, they said, I'm putting $5,000 in your Roth to start you off, and you're going to add $100 a month. And if I find out you ever stops that $100 a month, then I'm cutting you out of everything else. So it's a bit of an aggressive parenting style, but I think you understand the message they were trying to get across of like, hey, I'm going to help you if you help yourself. So that's kind of that matching contribution, which we tend to stay out of those because that's more of a parenting conversation than it is a financial one. But I do see what Skylar's talking about a lot of. Parents are going to put in some, child's going to put in some to have kind of a win-win.
And then at the age of 18, I'm guessing the child then would they at that time switch it over to just their name into
Yeah,
a regular Roth under their name and then continue to manage it the same way?
that's right. They just, like in our circumstance for this conversation, then they become the client.
Right.
So while they're a minor, they're not the client. Sometimes I'll do the meetings with the kid on the call with the parent, but like technically the parent's the client. Once they're 18, the parent's off the call and the child becomes the client.
Right. But then still, as far as like withdrawing the money, it still goes by the 59 and a half, age for withdrawals. Or can you talk a little bit about that, 5 years, 5 year rule with the Roths, not to get too complex, but
Yeah, you would set your 5 years way early. The 5 year rule is in place for folks that are already like 59 and a half. And if they wanted to access their investment growth, before having the account open for 5 years after they were already otherwise eligible to do it. So 5 year rule, not so much of a concern. But the investment growth in the Roth IRA is not accessible before 59 and a half, with some exceptions for like a first time home purchase or for education. But the principal, what you've contributed to the Roth IRA, because Roth IRAs are on a first in, first out tax basis, is that the money that you put in is always accessible. Now, it may not make sense to access that money, but if you needed to, there is no penalty for accessing the principal in your Roth IRA at any point in time. So, uh, expenses come up, say they wanted to make a car purchase and they wanted to do it on a tax advantage way, you could buy a car with your principal that's in your Roth and then just leave the investment growth that's inside of the account to continue to compound year after year.
Well said.
good stuff, guys. All right. We're at our limit, but this is all
Great
really good
conversation.
information.
Thanks, Julie. Thanks,
Yeah.
Skylar.
All right,
See
see
you
you
guys.
guys.